Hello everyone, my name is Adrian and today I'm going to be doing something a bit different from what I normally do. I'm going to be talking about vision improvement. Normally I post gaming videos on this channel, um, but vision improvement is something that I've taken a great vested interest in the past several months. Um, and I wanted to talk a bit about that because I know it's very relevant to gamers and anyone else who has some kind of similar hobby. So I want to talk about, first of all, my own personal experiences and also my current progress as well. So let's just start at the beginning. Um, when I was a little boy, I was introduced to video games. I'm in my 30s now, so that was quite a while ago. Um, it started out first with ColecoVision, for those who might remember that one. And then we got, the all the common ones like the NES, the SNES and Genesis and what have you. And it just kept going on from there. When I was a little boy, I would, of course, sit entirely too close to the TV playing these games. Um, and that's kind of like the same old song with a lot of people. It's when it comes to vision and having bad vision, that's usually how it starts, is being too close to something. So, for those who are not aware, the uh, state of not having good vision, blurry vision, or being nearsighted is called myopia. Now, myopia as a term, that's something that I've known for a long time, but it's always just kind of assumed, or not necessarily assumed. It's more explicitly told to us by optometrists usually that myopia is incurable, right? And that's kind of a funny word, incurable, because it's not something that has a cure, that because it's not a condition and it's not a disease. So more on that as I proceed with this video. But um, when I was a kid, at some point, and a lot of other kids have relevant experiences, at some point I really couldn't see the text well on the chalkboard at school. So I would move up. I would sit for closer to the chalkboard, but it progressed to the point where even sitting up close at the front of the class, I would still see the text blurry, even though I could still read it. It was clearly blurry. So of course you do what any normal kid does at that age, and you tell your parents. You say, "Hey, I can't see the board very well. It's blurry." So any well-intentioned parent is gonna do the same thing here and take you to get your eyes checked, because that's just what you do, right? That's what we're taught in society. You just go get your eyes checked, um, and it's usually at the optometrist. So we went to the optometrist. They prescribed me glasses, um, and that was that. And it's the same old song. This is how a lot of people wind up with glasses and myopia overall. So, what does this have to do with gaming? Well, of course, gaming is an activity that involves staring at a screen for extended periods of time. And, there are a lot of other people who artisans, they do like, arts and crafts and stuff like that. They might not ever get myopia, but meanwhile, they're staring at things up close too. And there's another reason for that, but I don't want to get ahead of myself here. Let me just continue my story first. So I first got glasses at 10 years old. I'm in my 30s now, so that's over 20 years of using glasses. Um, During this time, I didn't really question, like a lot of other people, we didn't really question um, why we had to wear glasses the whole time because we were never like diagnosed with something as like a disease or some kind of genetic condition. And with a lot of things related to health, all kinds of health related aspects, uh, the general populace is usually uneducated with these things. We just kind of go with either the consensus with like common knowledge, or we go by what we're told by people in authority, right? Or people who have some kind of authority. Um, and we don't really question these things initially. But at some point, I began to question how come there are a lot of other people who play games and work on the computer and do stuff like that, and they don't have myopia. They don't have glasses. So what's the deal? And the common answer is to that is just it's genetics. It's you got dealt a bad hand. That's what people who are uninformed tend to tell you. Um, and even some optometrists might tell you this. They might say that, yeah, it's just genetics. Your eyes are more susceptible to uh, getting bad vision compared to some other people. So these answers, even though they're not really what we're looking for, a lot of people just tend to accept them as correct and that there's nothing more to this. But I didn't accept that recently. I thought about it again, specifically last year, um, in September, is when I started really thinking about it and started doing more research, and I learned a whole lot more than I thought I was going to learn on this subject. Um, but before that, a year prior to that, so this was in 2018, I noticed that my current glasses were giving me headaches when I was using the computer. They didn't give me headaches outside, when I was at work, only when at the computer. So I went to the optometrist and I told him straight up. I said, "Listen, these glasses are giving me headaches. Is it possible that maybe I could get something a little weaker um, for the computer?" And he was supportive. We did the usual tests and whatnot, and then he went a little bit further, and he had his laptop there on the desk, so he did a little test with me there with his laptop. I said, "Okay, can you see well, with this distance, is it giving you any kind of strain, stuff like that?" So he was pretty supportive. Um, and he did give me another pair of glasses, and I just wound up using those as my regular glasses because even though I didn't see quite as clearly at a distance, I could still see just fine. I could see well enough that I felt like I didn't need the other pair because the other pair, you know, I could feel the tension. I didn't get headaches looking at a distance, but I could definitely feel the tension, like there was some degree of strain, and the other glasses just felt better. So I wore those. I wore those for about a year, and then after about a year, I noticed that my vision was just it was just better. My vision was better after wearing those for a year. I could see more clearly in the distance, whereas initially the year prior, it was a little bit blurrier. So I decided to do more research on the whole subject of myopia, and really I started questioning how come other people can do these things that I enjoy doing, but they don't ever have any problems. And I never even had a smartphone until 2017, which was about 3 years ago, or late 2017. So not even 3 years at this point. Um, so by the time I got a smartphone, I didn't grow up on smartphones, so I'm not like glued to my phone. I don't even really look at my phone that much. It's really only I play video games and I use my computer. You know, I like to research and read random stuff oftentimes on the computer, and I'm always just kind of learning things like that. Um, but I noticed that my vision did get better after about a year of using these glasses. So I questioned again and I did research, and then I found the website Endmyopia, which is what this video is about. as well as my own personal progress, right? So that was September of last year, right? 2019. So in September, I found Endmyopia. I did research. Um, and of course, like any healthy human being, you're skeptical in the beginning, right? Because a lot of people, they kind of promise you, uh, all this snake oil stuff. And it's kind of, at times it can be really difficult to discern the truth from people who are just kind of bullshitting you. So in the beginning, I was skeptical, but a lot of it was presenting science and explicitly saying not to trust the source. Um, don't trust the source, do the research for yourself, read the peer-reviewed um, scientific journals about the biology of the human eye and how it actually works. And these are the people who write these science journals, they're people who have a vested interest in science, not in selling you a product. They're not selling you a product because the majority of people are not going to go out of their way to look up peer-reviewed journals and try and buy something as a result. So they don't have any interest in doing that. Um, and this website, Endmyopia, has a methodology that is rooted in this science. So I decided to give it a try because it was free. I had nothing to lose, nothing to lose whatsoever. As skeptical as I was, I didn't have anything to lose because I already had bad vision since 10 years old, or glasses since 10 years old, and the bad vision started a little bit before that. So, what could go wrong, right? What could go wrong? I'm not paying money for this. So I decided to put it into practice, and within a week, I saw immediate improvement in my vision within a week. So that was obviously a great sign for me. Um, and as I continued to read more, I learned what was responsible for that improvement. And of course, the improvement slowed down significantly after that, but I learned the reason for that. And this is usually how it goes down. So, I'm not going to get too deep into things, but I do want to cover some things in this video that explain this, um, so that, at least you have kind of a base understanding of what's going on without having to read the site just yet. But basically, the focusing muscle in your eye is called the ciliary. The ciliary muscle is responsible for changing the shape of your natural eye lens in the eyeball. Each eyeball has a lens, and that lens determines how well you can see at a distance or up close or any kind of distance. The ciliary muscle changes the shape of the lens, and that basically redirects the light that your eye receives to place it in the correct spot in the back of the eyeball, which is the retina. So this ciliary muscle is a muscle, which means like regular other muscles in other parts of your body, it's susceptible to locking up and getting a spasm from overuse. And that's exactly what happens to a lot of people when they start getting bad vision. It starts out as a ciliary spasm because it's overworked from looking at things up close too much for too long. Um, Normally, under normal circumstances, if you look at a distance, like right now I'm looking out my window, if you look at a distance, the ciliary relaxes, and what it does is it stretches the lens in your eye to become thin so that you can see clearly at a distance. When you look at things up close, like I'm looking at this webcam right here, the ciliary tightens up. So it's kind of like with your arm. It's, like when you flex your arm, you tighten it up, and when you let it rest at your side, it's relaxed. It's kind of like that. If you spend too long up close, the ciliary is tight the whole time, which bulges the lens so that you can focus up close. But if you keep it in this tightened position for too long, it gets a spasm and it locks up. So this ciliary lockup Um, it will basically refuse to relax if you spend too long like this. So after a while, you'll look in the distance and you'll notice that your vision is noticeably blurrier. Even if you have perfect vision, this will happen to you. It's noticeably blurrier, and you know, for someone who is used to perfect vision, it is very, very obvious when you cannot see well in the distance. When you see that bit of blur, it's very obvious. So it starts out gradual in the beginning, and then it increases a bit more. And then this is at the point where you tell your parents if you're a kid, or if it happens to you later, you go to the optometrist, and they tell you you need glasses. So what happens is that they measure your vision while you still have this ciliary muscle spasm. Most likely you still have it. In some cases, maybe you've managed to relax it, in which case um, they really shouldn't prescribe you any glasses. Prescribe. Remember, these people are not doctors. Um, so the word prescription is kind of ridiculous. But um, most people will get glasses at this point because they're being tested, usually in a dark room where the lighting is awful, on a projected Snellen eye chart, which also looks pretty bad quality-wise, while you have the ciliary lockup. So of course most people will start out at like -1 or -1.25 or -1.50 diopters of lens of glasses. So they'll give this to you, and these glasses are what's actually making your vision worse, because on top of the ciliary spasm, now you have something that is artificially redirecting where the light focuses in your eyeball. The light is supposed to focus on the retina. If you have the ciliary spasm, um, you get blurry vision at a distance because the ciliary cannot change the shape of the lens to put the light exactly on the retina. If you use glasses to compensate for this, the light, and this is especially true if your ciliary relaxes a bit more, the light will give you something called hyperopic defocus. Hyperopic defocus is when the light goes past your retina, and what this does is it causes your biological systems to say, hold on, the light is too far back beyond the retina. So it adapts to this by actually elongating the eyeball. The length of your eyeball actually changes shape. If you want to look this up on peer-reviewed journals, the term for this is axial elongation. So axial elongation is what's actually making your vision worse, which is why every 1, 2 years or however many times you go to the optometrist, they usually prescribe you stronger and stronger glasses. So as you get older, your vision gets worse, and people just kind of fall into the the bullshit lie of it's genetic, or you got dealt a bad hand, right? So going back to my own personal experience, last September, I decided to try out this Endmyopia method, and I improved a full diopter in a week. And that full diopter was my ciliary muscle being relaxed because I started practicing better vision habits and basically employing the advice from the website and from the videos, like the how-to videos. So a full diopter is actually massive. In terms of vision improvement, one full diopter is a massive improvement. So right away, I was pretty hopeful that the method was going to work. But I didn't want to say anything about it. I haven't said anything, in on YouTube or on Twitter or anywhere else. I've only said certain things to, friends and family, people I know personally, because I didn't want to get ahead of myself, essentially. I wanted to make sure that it was actually legitimate, like it was a real thing. Um, it's been roughly 7 months, I believe. So I think I'm at a point now where I can say for certain uh, what I believe about and myopia and the whole method. So right now, I am currently sitting. Well, first, before I say this, I didn't know what my diopters were. When I first went to the optometrist in 2018, I didn't really know what my diopters were. I didn't know what diopters were to begin with. So I didn't really know what the strength of the glasses were, but I estimate that it was roughly about -3 diopters. If we're just going by my rate of improvement from one year to the next, I estimate about -3 diopters. Um, Now, last September, I went to this optometrist and I specifically asked them for my information because I wanted to know what my lens strength was. I wanted to know if I had astigmatism, stuff like that. So they printed it out for me and it sat at -2.25 in the left and -2.50 in the right. That's where I was at. So I continue to, you know, make progress. Like I said, I dropped that a full diopter once I got rid of my ciliary spasm. So it went to -1.25 and -1.50. That's where I was at um, about a week or so after I found the website in September. Currently, I am at -1. Instead of -1.25, I'm at -1. Um, my centimeter measurements, because this is just distance to blur. Like your diopters, like how well you can see is very simple. It's you look at something really close and then you pull your face back up until you start seeing blur. And that distance is obviously measurable easily with a measuring tape. Just get a measuring tape and measure it. Um, Diopters is very easily calculable as well. It's really just inverse meters, so you can just do 100 divided by your centimeter measurement. Um, Previously, um, in I want to say September, October, I was doing these measurements, and the highest I could get to was about 80 or so, and that was after going outside, on a walk or riding bike or something, for a while in the daylight and then measuring it instantly when I got home. So it was like around 80 or so was the highest. I decided to do this test again. I haven't measured in a while until today, and that's actually why I'm doing this video, um, or part of the reason anyway. I measured at 95 centimeters today. I went out for a walk. I just listened to an audiobook. I walked around and just took breaks, sat around on the benches and such for about an hour and a half. Came back, measured at 95 centimeters, which is roughly -1 diopters. So I went initially 2 years ago, I was at -3, and now I'm at -1, which is a full 2 diopter drop from 2 years ago. So in 2 years, less than 2 years, I dropped, including relieving the ciliary spasm, of course, I dropped 2 diopters. So the entire premise of Endmyopia, the entire point, is to educate people on myopia, on the biology of the eye, and the fact that myopia is completely reversible. Um, the guy who pioneered this approach, he used to have -5 diopter myopia, and he now has 20/20 vision. He didn't do any surgery, no LASIK, no none of that nonsense. Um, and this is not just his method. A lot of this is collective experience from thousands upon thousands of people who are sharing their own personal experiences, their own personal vision improvement experiments, their experiences, their progress, right? And now, I'm kind of doing the same with this. I want to share my own personal experiences because I want to contribute to that. Um, for those who have had perfect vision their whole life, it may be kind of difficult to see someone talking about this because you don't understand what it's like to go your entire life not seeing the world correctly without a crutch. Imagine someone told you that you had to use a literal crutch for the rest of your life and that you will never be able to walk normally again without that crutch. Imagine someone telling you that. Now imagine someone that doesn't have to wear crutches ever and have maybe never worn or used, I say wear, use crutches. Imagine someone who's never had to use crutches ever telling you, just accept it. Just accept that you have to use the crutch. Just, it's a scam. What you're trying to do, that whole website is a scam. What would you say if someone who's never had to experience what you've gone through told you that you just have to accept it? That's how it's always going to be. And that, you know, you can't continue to do the things that you enjoy doing because it's just going to make things worse. Or on the flip side, they might say you might as well just continue indulging in your bad vision habits because you're never going to get better. That's kind of like a spit in the face, isn't it? Right? If someone tried to say that to you. So I don't agree with that. And my own personal improvement basically counters that whole mentality because I have experienced firsthand vision improvement. -2 diopters is a crazy massive improvement. And this is, it's not something that you can physically see. It's not like if I exercise, if I do pull-ups and things like that, other people can see my progress, right? Because it's kind of like an outward progress. I'll get broader shoulders and my lats will get bigger and stuff like that. No one can really see what my vision is. Only I can see my vision. But I can prove that I can see things at a distance where I couldn't see them before. I can show that much at least. If I active focus correctly or even get like a clear flash, um, if I look in the distance and I see it, there's a sign really far away, I'm not wearing any glasses or contacts, and I prove to them that I can see that sign, I can read it, then if it's someone that's known me for a long time, they might have known before that I couldn't see that before. So it's definitely measurable progress. So yeah, September is when I started. Currently, it's March 2020. Um, and I wanted to bring this up because I wanted to relate it to gamers as well. That's another thing, another purpose of the video, because a big aspect of the approach to improving your vision is getting enough outdoor time and distance vision, practicing active focus. And you can go to the website, you can watch the videos. I'm not going to explain active focus in detail, but active focus is basically the core principle of how you improve your vision. Um, so generally, you want to practice active focus outdoors with a lot of distance. Um, and that's a problem for people who like playing video games or like staring at the screen for any other reason, watching TV, movies, reading stuff on websites, browsing social media, what have you. Even, people who are doing things up close that may not be quite as bad because of the 3D aspect of it. So maybe you're tinkering with some electronics or you're doing arts and crafts and stuff. It's not quite as bad as staring at the same fixed distance like a screen, but it won't help you improve your vision if you just consistently do that all day. So, if you're a gamer and you have this myopia condition, right? it's a refractive state. It's not a condition. It's actually the eyeball doing what it's supposed to do. Axial elongation is a normal, natural response of the eyeball. Um, but if you have myopia and you play games, or you use a computer a lot, or anything that involves looking at things up close for extended periods of time, and you're curious about what you should be doing um, to improve your vision, and certainly I would hope you at least want to prevent getting worse vision. If you're not actively trying to improve your vision, at least stop it, cut it off so it doesn't keep getting worse. Um, then you really do need to check out Endmyopia because I'm at the last diopter. If I get to 0 diopters, I have perfect vision. And I've been wearing glasses since 10 years old. And now I'm at the point where I can drive without glasses. I can active focus if I have enough light and distance. I can active focus to the point where I can see signs very clearly from far away. I couldn't do that before. Um, I can see measurable progress as time goes by, literally measuring with a measuring tape. I can see that the distance is very steadily increasing over time. So this is basically a call, I suppose, a call to gamers, because gamers are typically the ones who would see any of the videos on my channel. But anyone who looks at screens or does anything up close for extended periods of time, um, go to Nmyopia, do research, watch the videos. There are links, it's all kinds of resources available to help educate you on what myopia is, how to stop it, how to reverse it. And in terms of support, there is a community forum and a Facebook group. I personally don't use Facebook, but I do go to the community forum. It's active every day, thousands of members. There are people who started this journey years before I did, and many of these people have gotten back to 20/20 vision, 0 diopters, normal functioning vision. So this video expresses my own personal experiences, my own progress. You know, I'm still very much, I guess, starting out. It's only been several months since I started. Some people have been doing this journey for years, and of course, it depends on how bad your vision was before. Some people start out as high as -8, -9 diopters, which is legally blind. It's very, very bad, blind as a bat. And they, you know, it's 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 a long-term commitment to try and improve your vision. It really is. It's a long-term commitment. It's not a fast, instantly gratifying process. But if you have the discipline, if you have the education, you know, meaning that you did enough research and you have the drive to do it, it works. It absolutely does work. So consider this me preaching the good word of Endmyopia because it 100% does work. If you go to the community forum, you'll see upon thousands of people who have already done this for themselves. Some have gotten back to 20/20. Some are almost there after having very high myopia, worse than me. Um, and there's a lot of help, a lot of support. You know, if you're confused about things, there's a lot of information there to explain what diopters are, what active focus is, how to do it, how to measure, all kinds of things related to this. It's all there. So, you know, between the community forums, the blog posts, uh, and the videos on YouTube, you should have everything you need in order to reverse your myopia and get back to perfect vision. Um, at the very least, do what you can to stop the myopia from progressing further. Um, at the very least, I guess that's the one request I have. Make sure you do what you can to nip it in the bud. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's my current progress. Earlier today, like I said, I took a walk outside. I stopped around for a bit. I practiced my active focus. I listened to an audiobook because just walking is really boring, right? To me anyway, like just going out for a walk and doing nothing but looking at stuff is really boring. So I put on an audiobook. When I came back, um, my measurable distance was 95, which was 15 centimeters higher than what it was when I first stepped out the door. So of course, in the morning you wake up, you're indoors, your vision is not as good as it could be. When I stepped out the door, I measured my vision. It was at 80 centimeters. I did the walk for about an hour and a half. I came back. It went up to 95. Um, and of course that's temporary, right? Because I could be indoors all day after that, and my vision will go back to 80 centimeters. The point is that your vision fluctuates throughout the day depending on the stimulus you give it, the lighting conditions, all that. Um, but just how it can go down, it can go up too. It can increase, and that's what you want. You want the centimeter distance to increase steadily over time. So, if I stay the course and assuming that I don't run into any bad plateaus, um, I should be back to normal vision, normal, zero diopters in about a year and a half from now. I can't guarantee that's going to happen. I might get complacent. I might run into plateaus and not know how to overcome them without some help. Stuff like that could happen. But at the very least, I have personally dropped 2 diopters since I started this whole thing. 2 diopters. So that right there is definitely proof, and I'm just one drop in the ocean of all the other people who have done the same thing and have had the same kind of progress and are on their way to improving their vision. So consider this additional anecdotal evidence that this works. And it feels good knowing that, there is a way to overcome this that doesn't involve risky LASIK surgery that could result in, all kinds of problems. Do the research, all kinds of problems. Um, and people telling you that it's a genetic or a disease or a condition or that it's permanent and that it's never going to get better and you have to buy lenses from me for the rest of your life. Open up your wallet. I don't want to hear that. And I certainly don't want to hear from people who have never had to use crutches telling me that I have to just swallow it and use the crutches for the rest of my life. I don't agree with that. So anyway, I'm gonna cut the video here. That's pretty much what I wanted to say. Um, I'm gonna link the website in the description. Um, but it's really easy to remember. Endmyopia.org. If you've never heard of myopia, you might have to look up the word to know how to spell it. But it's nmyopia.org. And if you want to go to the YouTube channel, the guy's name is Jake Steiner. You could just put Jake Endmyopia, Jake Steiner, whatever. It'll pop up. He has blog posts on the website. He has links to, the science journals, um, videos with other people who have improved their vision. They are recounting their own personal experiences. Um, and of course, the community forum where you can talk to other people who have done the same thing. So it's not snake oil. It's basically it's science. That's all it is. It's science and it's free. So go and do it. If you play video games, stand back or sit back from the screen. I am currently more than 6 feet away from my computer monitor. I just use the zoom functions on my monitor to increase the text size so that I can see it. And I use every operating system, no matter what operating system you use. I myself, I have two. I have Mac OS and Windows. they have zoom functions built in to the system, and browsers. Every browser as well has zoom functions, so you can use the magnifiers. You can use the text, make the text larger. Whatever you got to do, sit further back and get distance vision interspersed throughout your day. You know, interspersed, just like how you eat and drink, interspersed throughout the day. You don't drink all the water that you're gonna have for the day in a single sitting, and then you just never drink any for the rest of the day, right? It's interspersed throughout the day. So that's what you want. You want to take breaks, have discipline. Mostly everyone has a phone these days. They have timers on them, stopwatches. Set a timer, and when the timer beeps, have that discipline. Go outside, or I mean, even if you just want to look out the window, I recommend going outside. But the whole point is challenge your distance vision and stop staring at the same focal point, a screen, for extended periods of time without breaks. And you definitely don't want to do that. The further away you are from what you're looking at, the more relaxed your ciliary is going to be. Of course, it's much more relaxed if you look in the distance. So that's going to be it for my video. I hope this helps people get started on their own personal journey. Um, I hope the Zoom tip was helpful for some people. Maybe if you're already doing this yourself and you never even considered that you can use Zoom functions on your computer. Um, the phones have that too, by the way. You can pinch and expand to alter the text size. And yeah, especially if you're a gamer and maybe you're a streamer, maybe you stream games and you're used to doing these 5, 6 hour streams. That's really no good for you. I'm sorry to say. I'm sorry to say I used to do these myself. I still occasionally stream things myself. I try not to stream 5, 6 hours anymore. I can't even really do that anyway these days. But you got to take breaks. If you want to do a 5 hour stream, have some breaks in there. You know, do what you got to do. Tell your audience, hey, I'll be right back. It'll be about 20 minutes or so, whatever. Go outside, walk around, give your ciliary a break, and then you come back and you keep doing it. And sit further back. I can't stress this enough. Sit further back from the screen. Okay, now I'm really gonna cut this. Otherwise, it'll just go on for too long. But yeah, my name is Adrian. Once again, I started at roughly, it's just an estimate, -3 diopters. Currently at -1. So yeah, I'm really happy with the progress. These right here are -1 glasses, and they are starting to get to the point where they won't help me. Pretty soon they'll be too strong for me. And that's it. I hope you guys have a good one.